Bonus part. Now enjoy Nifiah's interview about diabetes and summer safety on WGPR Hot 107.5, Your Health Matters segment, hosted by Karen Dumas.
As we said earlier at the top of the show, it all starts within. You've got to be at your best physically, mentally, and to talk about that, we are now joined by Nifiah Reed. She is an advanced practice health professional and founder of LIVNTruth Lifestyle Medicine, whole food, plant-based nutrition coaching and consulting, all around be well health specialist. Nifiah, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Karen?
I am fine. Derek and I are excited to talk to you again. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And good morning, Derek.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
We've been talking about summer safety today. And so let's talk about, I think it all begins within. Certainly you have to have a very strong and calm core and center, physically, mentally. That comes through whether it's meditation, plant-based, a healthier diet. I'm going to let you take this over. You tell us, how do we center ourselves in the way where we can navigate all of life's balance?
Well, Karen, you led right into this when you said dealing with the other safety issues of law enforcement, taking care of your legal business. You led right into it talking about you have to be centered. You have to be well. When your mind is not together and your body is not together, the events itself, they cause increased stress, which is taxing on your body. But your mind has to be together as well in order for you to deal with these things appropriately. And getting to that point, you want to feed your body well. You want to care for your body well, ensuring that you are in the proper environments so that you can make the right decisions.
Now, what do you mean by that when you say when you're in the right environment? Let's be a little more specific.
So our environment is where we live, where we work, those conditions that influence individual and group differences in the world, especially in health status. We deal with, I serve the marginalized population, the inner cities of Detroit, where individuals are living in food deserts. They're living in areas in which the housing is not great. Right now, we know everyone is having an issue with employment. And all of these things are major, major stresses to the mind, body, and spirit. People are being beaten down. And so you want to try to do what you can, what's in your power to adapt to that environment so it's beneficial to you.
How does eating play a part in all of this?
How does the community play a part in those?
No, how does eating play a part?
How does eating?
With stress.
Awesome. That's an awesome question, Derek. Eating is a big part of our mental picture. I focus a lot on our sugar intake. Sugar is not our friends. And if you listen to my Living Truth podcast, you'll hear me say that a million times. The sugar, the junk, the oil, the salts, they're very harmful to us, and they're very harmful to our mind and body. Sugar is an excitotoxin. It's just as addictive as heroin or cocaine, and it has the same effect on our brains and our body as those hard or illegal drugs would have.
Sugar is in bread, it's in ketchup, it's in condiments, it's in all. How do we navigate that? Even when we think we're eating better, we really are still consuming a lot of that which we should leave alone.
You are absolutely correct, Karen. Sugar is in everything we eat. And so it is important for us to read labels and determine what the amount of sugar is and determine what exact sugar is in there. There is sugar in absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. And so I talk about when you see the words glucose, fructose, sucrose, those are all sugars. And those are sugars that people may not know that are sugar. In chewing gum, we look at that, we'll see xylitol or sorbitol. Those are sugar alcohols. And they have those same negative effects as whole white sugar has on our bodies.
Huh. Okay. I'm laughing because I just and so Derek is like, is Nifiah looking through here? But so what is a reasonable healthy dose of sugar.
There is no reasonable healthy dose of sugar. And I know people are not going to like that I said that. There is no recommendation for the amount of sugar intake that you need to have. You do not need sugar in the form that we take it in to survive. What you need.
What form is acceptable? Is there a form? Is it raw sugar? Is it agave? Is it something, because everybody is addicted to sugar, whether they realize it or not, which is why we like sweet things.
Absolutely.
So is there even a safer or a more preferred form?
I would not say safer because it's all still sugar, but a preferred form is a natural form. And you mentioned that in agave or even your maple syrup. Those are better sweeteners than our white sugars and even our brown sugars.
Really? Even the raw sugar?
Even the raw sugar.
God, the fire is just like a, party pooper. My God. Okay. Well, but you know what? You're right, though. I mean, you're absolutely right. And I've seen studies, reports, everything that sugar is the devil. What about dairy? I hear a lot about dairy not being this, miracle thing that it's marketed as. What is your take on dairy?
Dairy is absolutely not what it's set out to be. This is also a tough one, Karen, because dairy. Again, the dairy that we ingest is for the animals that it come from. The dairy that we ingest, so our milk, our cheese, our butter, that dairy is for the animals that it come from. So whole milk, it comes from a cow. That milk is for the cow, not for humans. Goat milk, people drink goat milk because they can't ingest the cow milk. You can't ingest the cow milk simply because it's not made for your body to break it down. It's for a cow to break it down.
So what about, I'm sorry, dear. What about almond milk? You have oat milk. Are those plant-based milks better?
Those plant-based milks are much better. And you can even make those in your own home and you know exactly what's in them. They are free of hormones. They are free of sugar.
What?
They are free of bacteria.
Okay. All right.
So is that why some folks get older? Now I see some younger people, lactose intolerant.
Most people, 80% of people, and I just looked at this research the other day because I was doing a conversation with my son. 80% of individuals are lactose intolerant, meaning we cannot digest the milk sugar that dairy is made out of.
Okay, we got to Nifiah. But you know what? And again, it's almost like a system, the cycle. We're going to feed you things that you shouldn't eat. So you have to get care that you don't need, but it keeps the economic cycle going. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about it, Karen. Let's talk about it.
Go ahead. Please help me, Nifiah. You know what I'm saying.
It is absolutely a cycle. And that's what healthcare is. My mission at Live in Truth is to disrupt that. I've been in healthcare for 20 years now. And what I discovered is that we weren't healing anybody and we are just going in a vicious cycle. You come into the doctor, you're prescribed a medication that's causing side effects. And now I have to prescribe you a medication to cancel out those side effects, but it also causes another issue. So you have to come back into the clinic or I have to hospitalize you so that you can get care. In the hospital, you may end up with an infection. So not only do you have an issue, now we are putting a burden on the healthcare system. Because the cost of healthcare.
This is brought by DCH. There are people that have issues that now require, but there's a preventative method. There's a method to intercede where medicine isn't your total focal point. And that's one thing that I do appreciate about DCHC in terms of nutrition. You've done the nutritional component. You encourage people to exercise, put them in touch with trainers, and you provide the subsidy. Exactly. More fruits and vegetables. But it is a cured patient is a lost customer.
Yes. And DCHC itself, they are big on that. I have partnered with DCHC and they are big on helping with chronic lifestyle diseases. And I was very proud to partner with them in that because there is a different way. There's a different way other than prescribing medication when you can focus on not just plant-based nutrition. That's the foundation. But again, we talked about the environment, physical movement, your psychological health. And then you put your nutrition in to hold that up, to hold all of that up.
And if you question the role that medicine plays in our economic society, just look at the amount of commercials that you see if you're watching television. It's medicine, prescription medicine, back to back to back. And now they have people thinking that they can go in and ask for a specific prescription drug. So now, you've got people feeding into this. And then fear is another thing. If you don't get this, you're going to grow 16 toes. I mean, so fear is another thing. And to me, that fuels, as Nifiah said, our mental stability and capability. Nifiah, tell us a little bit about, before we let you go, about the podcast, and give us a few tips for people that they can start to take those steps to a better lifestyle.
And I want to start with taking the steps to a better lifestyle. So people need to assess their situation. Number one, don't be afraid to ask questions of your care providers. There is a lot of knowledge out in the world that you can read and look up. If you don't understand it, that's what LIVNTRUTH is here for. That's what your care provider is there for, in order to share that information and make sure that you can understand it and apply it to your life appropriately. LIVNTRUTH, our mission is to support, is to educate, and to encourage individuals to a higher level of health. And we advocate for true health and optimal fitness through a whole food, plant-based diet, through physicality, addressing all mental issues, and adjusting your environment where you have control. We are very realistic here at LIVNTRUTH. We know that people can't just up and move. Everybody doesn't know how to garden, but we are here to provide that education and support. And also consulting with your physician when you are not sure about your diagnosis. You are not sure if you can come off of that medication or adjust down from that medication. This is what LIVNTRUTH is here for.
Now, where can we find your podcast? And is there a website or a number you can share for people that want to know how to live with an intentional life of vitality and nutrition?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we want everybody to do, live an intentional life of vitality through nutrition. They can find us at livntruth.org. That's LIVNTruth.org. We are on all social media sites, Instagram, livin.truth, Facebook, LIVNTRUTH. You can set up a consultation through Facebook at LIVNTRUTH, and the podcast can be found through the website, livntruth.org, and it's weekly, every Thursday.
Now, do you take insurance, or does that you deal with that with each individual patient, so you can figure out what the process of your engagement is?
I don't take insurance. What I am able to do is provide information so that they can provide it to their insurance company for a reimbursement. I am currently working with a few insurance and companies to get that moving where it will be directly billed.
Let me say this now. This would be an investment in your health. So you're spending $4 or $5 a pack for cigarettes or $8 for a gallon of ice cream, and you're doing it repeatedly. That's money you can set aside to learn how to live and to be better. So it just comes down to a matter of priority. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I flat out ask people when we do our discovery call, is your choice to live or die? What are you doing to ensure you live? And I show them what they're doing to cause an early death. Which one is more important to you?
Okay. Well, Nifiah, I certainly appreciate talking to you as always. It is enlightening, a little scary, but in a good way. Sometimes we have to be shocked into being better. And we certainly appreciate you being here, inviting everybody to check out LIVNTRUTH, LIVNTRUTH, lifestyle medicine and whole food plant-based nutrition coaching, and information for you to be better. Nifiah Reed, thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day, you all.
Thank you all for joining us for this episode of the LIVNTRUTH podcast. Get connected with all things LIVNTRUTH by checking out our webpage, livntruth.org, and follow us at livin.truth on Instagram and at LIVNTRUTH on all other platforms. Schedule your consultation with Nifiah today. Stay tuned for next Thursday's episode and start living an intentional life of vitality through nutrition.